At this point, maybe it's because I'm an Ohio State Buckeye fan, but I love me some Canaan Smith-Njigba. Tell me why I should love him. I just love the approach, dude.
Yeah, I get it. It's hard. Again, it's really hard to find a role for a guy like this. I think he's going to be great in Korea or Japan.
That was the meanest thing you've ever said.
I know, right?
It's not meant to be like, think about the guys who go over there and anyway.
I'm going to Baseball America for my news now.
That's fine. I forget that's how people tend to decide where they go for whatever, whether it's baseball or other news. It's just like, who agrees with me? So yeah, Canaan Smith-Njigba, obviously you're right. His feel for the zone is fantastic. And he's a Smith-Njigba, right? Of the Jackson Smith-Njigbas. And so there's uncommon athleticism there. There's also above average to plus raw power there. The swing has never produced in-game power. Yeah. When you're a left field only guy defensively, there's got to be power there. Unless you're like Brett Gardner or Quan or something like that. And, I like Canaan Smith-Njigba, but he's not those guys. And so, even like Vogelbach type guys who don't really have a position at all, Rowdy Tellez, they got to have that power to play the role that they play as that low end first base DH type guy, Garrett Cooper, Justin Bohr, these guys who are corner only towards the bottom of the defensive spectrum. They have that little 3-year peak where they're really good. And overall, when you're looking at them against all the first basemen across baseball, like they're in that bottom third of, your everyday first base type guys, which is a 40. And so, that's where I think Canaan Smith-Njigba is at. I think it's a super duper crowded field of guys like this, like Ryan Velotti, who also doesn't have power, but has other interesting, bat to ball skill, more than the approach piece, which is really driving Smith-Njigba's prospect bus. And Andujar and like guys like this who you
just said two guys that stink really badly.
But these are but the approach is to take a buy low opportunity on those guys, right? Like falling off of another roster. Let's try it. Can we fix something here? Can we tweak something here? I kind of get it, but with Canaan Smith-Njigba, yeah, he's fine. He's like at the very low end of the types of guys who occupy that 4th and 5th outfield role for a contending team. And some contending teams don't behave that way at all. Like the Padres don't platoon anybody. They're just trying to make a team of like all stars.
They get a $5,000 million payroll.
Right. Ideally you want to like compete, right? So you have to do the Rays thing where you're pairing dudes together and like Voltroning together a 4-win player out of like 2 guys who you're just putting in position to succeed, like with one another all the time. I guess like the Dodgers have done this too, where like Chris Taylor's moving around, right? Muncy, Taylor, Jock Peterson, they're all kind of moving around, platooning kind of with one another, and Taylor's versatility really facilitated that. And so like maybe Canaan Smith-Njigba has a bit role to play in something like that. But quite often when you're an outfield corner guy, there's just got to be power. That has to be because there are just enough guys floating around who have power. Like Adam Duvall is old, but he still has a ton of power. And that guy tends to get a job, in the sort of role that you could hope Canaan Smith-Njigba might play.
Well, maybe Canaan Smith, I'm going to go back to another former Pirate. Like maybe he can piece together a Jordan Luplow type of career.
Sure. That's interesting. Yeah. Luplow, also a guy who, like, if you told me he's going to be Jordan Luplow, like, at probably 40 plus that guy, it's in a 40 role as like the shorter end of a corner platoon, but he destroys left-handed pitching, like with an uncommon level of power. So I want to accelerate where I've got a guy like that a little bit higher, but yeah, like I could see how you're arriving at that.
You all, thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.